All right. Fun times. Orientation is not locked. Come on there. All right. I got some Bandit signs to write, and I will not be teaching a whole lot of stuff here or anything, just kind of showing you how I write Bandit signs. We got a house to sell on owner financing, and I'm going to show you how I write Bandit signs. These Bandit signs are the small version, about yay big, and we're going to make money on this house for sure. Lots of money because we sell on seller financing, and we generate passive income by purchasing good real estate and then doing a lease purchase on the back end or a owner financed sale on the back end. So I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing here. This is not going to be fun or flashy. It's going to be me just writing. So I'm going to write, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to write here. Might be a better way for me to position this camera here. Let's see if I can show you behind the scenes here real quick. There we go. All right. Dun, 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 dun. Here we go. Goodness gracious. Hopefully there's nothing embarrassing. Here's my Greek New Testament. I read scripture in Greek almost every morning. And, okay, that's a little bit better. A little bit limited here. Let's see if I can lower it a little bit. All right, there we go. All right, you can kind of see that. Let me actually use that Greek New Testament to get a little bit better of a perspective. All right, how's that? This is how the money is made. Oh my gosh. People don't know about this. People do not know that this is going to make so much money. And I don't really care about the money. I care about the financial freedom. Because I had to have an academic background, a musical and academic background. Neither of those make you any money, by the way. This was my second book that I published. Here's my name, right here. You can go buy it. Haven't made a dime off that book. I loved getting to research and write that book, but haven't made a dime off that book. And I got a family, and the academic environment is not one where it's easy to get a job. So I had to do real estate as a plan B. Not a really good plan B, I'm going to be honest with you, because it's better to have money, to have a corporate job to work your way out of, rather than to have no job and to have to create a job to support a family. That's not an ideal situation, but that was my situation, and that's the sign right there. You can go Google that, look it up on the county record, I don't care. You're gonna see my business owns this property, and we bought this property sub 2. Yes, subject to still does work, even though those good interest rates are vanishing. They're vanishing. You have to learn how to adapt and adopt if you're gonna make it in this industry. Pace Morby was cool for a minute. Oh, Pace Morby. Wow. I wonder how many of his students are out there crushing it right now in Midwestern markets. Probably some. Definitely some, I'm sure. But what percentage of those who signed up for the 10 grand coaching program, did they get their money's worth yet? I'm curious. I don't actually know. I'm ignorant to that fact. But I can take a guess. We really saw a diminishment of people wholesaling sub-twos. I thought that was how we were going to get financially independent, guys. Become a wholesaler, create your own rat race. 9 to 5, you have to wake up, cold call people, get yelled at on the phone, dispo properties with no buyer's list, or JV and give away half the deal. These deals are hard to get, and the top wholesalers out there wholesaling sub-2 deals are crushing it. There's a few that are really good. I have to stop and make sure I'm writing the right thing on the sign, because it'd be a shame if, as I'm talking, I made some errors here. So I'll tell you what's on the sign if you can't read it, because if it's backward or something, I don't know. It says home for sale. The address. Owner financing. I don't know if this is legible or if it's reversed. Honestly, I have no idea. It says owner financing, no banks needed. So that's literally, if you just tuned in for that, that would be worth it, because that message will get people to drive to the address. They are going to look at the house. And if they take that step of driving to the house, I have already pre-qualified them in a huge way. They actually took action. They actually drove because they had some level of motivation to own a house. If I put my phone number on there, I get a whole bunch of tire kickers calling me because they got evicted from their last rental and they think that they're going to scam me into letting them, give me a couple grand to move in and then not pay their rent. Okay, that's not going to happen on this deal. There are just as many, if not more, scam artists on the retail side, people looking for housing, as there supposedly are on the investor side. So you got to watch out for that. But yeah, these people are going to drive to the house. They're going to see a beautiful house, and that means they had to have taken a photo of this sign probably, and then open up an app on their phone, type in the address, and then be willing to drive to the property, set eyes on it, and then they're there at the house. They're going to see my phone number on a sign, and then they're going to have to call or text that number. So I've already pre-qualified them in a big way. And the reason that they're doing this is not because it's just a house for sale. It's because there's owner financing and no banks needed to buy it on owner financing. That's why they're motivated to drive to the house and take a look at it. And yeah, I want to get back to the whole wholesaler thing with sub-twos. Just how many people are out there making a living off that model? I'm curious about that. Let me take a look at the comments here. Let me rotate this guy. All right, got some questions. You can definitely use a normal purchase agreement. George asked, can he use a normal purchase agreement for my apologies. It says the orientation is locked. It's not locked. Whatever. So, yeah, you can use a normal purchase agreement because, in fact, I would advise that you use the state promulgated purchase and sales agreement, because then you are just 100% above board. No seller, even on the buy side, if you're going to sell seller financing and you're going to do a wrap, use the state promulgated form. I have my own contract that I offer for free on my website, on the Sub2 Investor website, but the reality is that if you use the state promulgated form and you just use the special provision section or an amendment, or it wouldn't be amendment, an addendum that's like a seller financing addendum, you're covering yourself in ways legally that I'm not an attorney, this is not legal advice, but you're covering yourself in ways that you're not using like a 1 or 2 page contract. I would just not use those contracts ever. If I can avoid it, I would use the state promulgated contract. So if it's Missouri, it's the Missouri Realtors contract. If it's the Texas, it's the, what is it? The Trek 1 to 4, the Texas Real Estate Commission. The reason to use the state promulgated contract is because it's just what everybody uses, and if you ever got into a lawsuit, then you just look a lot better, and there's no questions about the paperwork. You can just put the seller financing terms into an addendum and write into the financing part of the contract that it's owner financed, stuff like that. There's really no right way to do it, but there are wrong ways to do it. So if you have grave concerns, hire an attorney. But if you're like me, the best way to avoid having to hire expensive attorneys is just to follow best business practices. And that's actually the most affordable legal advice I could tell you to do. Follow best business practices, and I think you're going to avoid a lot of litigation. So what that means is, there's another sign. What am I doing here? I'm making signs. I'm making signs. I'm inhaling this permanent marker. I'm selling a house on seller financing. And this is how you create passive income in real estate. Home for sale. Here's the address. I'm not going to advertise the address, but I'm not going to hide it either. And the fact that we're willing to carry the financing is a huge, huge benefit and value add to the sale of this property. I can't really emphasize enough just how so state contract plus addendum including seller financing terms. Yeah, that's what I would do. That's what I would do. You could exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what I would do. There are even some seller financing addendums that the states have, like Missouri. I know Missouri actually has a contract for deed addendum, oddly, and or they have some kind of seller financing addendum. to the state promulgated, purchase and sales contract. Texas certainly does, because I've done a couple deals in Texas too, and they have a seller financing addendum, I believe, and so you can use that. Just put the terms in there. That's what I would do for sure. But if you're selling it seller financing on a contract for deed, which is what we plan to do with this one, then the contract for deed is the sales contract. So there's not like a additional purchase and sales contract that you fill out and then the contract for deed. The contract for deed is the sales contract. So you're in Texas. Cool. Yeah. I would get with, I have all of the forms, that they update those too, so I don't know if they're the most up to date, but I would get with Alan Sesker, the Sesker Group. He's based in Austin. If you just Google Alan Sesker, attorney, Sesker Group, law office or whatever, he specializes in seller financing and doing wraps. And if you just email Jessica, she's like the phone person. She's like the main assistant for Alan. She will send you the whole packet of, I think the PSA, the seller financing addendum, and what's up, and then you'll be able to use that to lock up deals, sell deals. Alan Sesker is an amazing resource. There are other attorneys who do wraps in Texas because you have to do wraps. You have to convey legal title if you're going to seller finance in Texas. You cannot do contract for deed anymore or lease options. Some people are doing them. I would advise against trying to do any lease options. You can only do an option for up to 180 days. You can go to up to 1 year under certain circumstances, but lease options are no longer kosher in Texas state law. You might already know that, but some people don't know that, so I have to tell them if they're in Texas, you have got to convey legal title. And there are laws passed by the Texas Senate bill, I forget what it was, that legislate subject to and seller financing. So if you F around, you are gonna find out in Texas if you do it the wrong way, because Texas is, don't mess with Texas. I went to North Texas University for 1 year in their jazz program, world-renowned jazz program. One of the largest music schools, sometimes depending on the year, it was the largest music school when I went there, and just an amazing group of students who were all phenomenal at their instruments. So I'm a drummer, jazz drummer, and so I have a soft spot in my heart for Texas. We have a deal in Houston that we did a wrap on, and a deal in San Antonio we did a wrap on, and wholesaled a sub-2 deal in Dallas, which I should have held on to and not wrapped that. I should have just kept that one. Anything in Dallas you should just keep. DFW is, I think, just still, there's a decline in the market, but of all places in Texas, that's still, I think, the best place to invest. But these are signs, home for sale. It's nothing fancy. It's a chisel tip Sharpie marker here. You get a pack of 3 or a pack of 4 for $3, $4 or $5 at Walmart or Amazon. And you get these Bandit signs on Amazon. There's an address of the property. People are going to drive to the property, and then they're going to see the house. They're going to get the number on the house, the phone number, and then they are going to call it hopefully, and then I'm going to talk to them. I'm going to try and answer the phone for anybody who calls. I don't like to answer my phone when people call me. I usually let it go straight. In my CRM, I have most of my phone lines go straight to voicemail. I did not get into real estate to be answering phones all day long. I got into real estate to generate passive income. Mailbox money that is paperwork, clockwork, I don't want to be answering phones. But one time that I like to answer phone calls, and this is my favorite part of the sub 2 kind of space. It's really not strictly sub 2, the creative finance space. My favorite part is talking to homeowners who are just like, they see this opportunity to own this beautiful home without any banks, and they can't believe it. They have, when you find the right buyer who sees the value and the opportunity, and they're the right fit, and they are just so excited to actually own a house for them and or their families. It's a cool thing. It is a really rewarding thing. In business, I don't, obviously do this to support my family, myself, but it's this awesome benefit to be able to help other people. And when you get the right buyer, you feel like a saint. Like, oh my gosh, I just did this person an amazing thing. I'm not a saint. Anybody could do this. I could be doing this for totally selfish reasons, and they would still get the value out of it. So I don't care about the whole moral part of it from that perspective, because in my opinion, my worth is found in Christ. It has nothing to do with my self-righteousness, all right? But I'm happy to be able to offer financing to people. Now, there is a cost to it because I have underlying debt on the property. And if they don't pay, I have to cover it. So I am the bank to them. I have to have reserves. I have to have resources that they don't have in the event that something happens in their life. So I would not get into this business. Oh, just almost lost all my signs here. I would not get into this business if you don't, if you yourself don't have, see, I've almost got 15 signs there. I'm gonna go place these today. If you don't have a good credit score yourself, if you're not one to make your monthly payments to your creditors, regardless of what's going on in your life, stay out of this business, please. Don't. Just tune off of this channel right now. Go find Pace Morby, and actually, it's just better to, I don't know. I'm not giving advice, just don't do this business, because you're going to screw up people's lives if you're not making your underlying payment on your debt, and then you're going to destroy an industry, okay? So don't do it. Only do this model if you're serious about making passive income and you're driven to do that. If you have a drive to do that and you're a responsible human being, this could work for you. The attorney is Alan Sesker. Sesker is a weird last name. It's spelled Seshker. Alan Sesker, or Seshker. Seshker Group, Austin, Texas. If you email me at hans@sub2investor.com, I can send you an example of like a contract package that we used on a deal, or maybe I have the blank templates that I can send to you. If you shoot me an email, hans@sub2investor.com, I can do that. Let's see here. I'm almost to the point where I'm gonna leave like 3 signs to put in the front yard, which are gonna say Well, I'll show you what those are going to say here. All right. Home for sale, 2701. Name of the street. Owner financing. If you're in Texas or anywhere where there's a lot of Spanish-speaking people, you could put dueño a dueño, which means owner to owner. And that is common parlance for owner financing in the Spanish-speaking milieu or culture or language or whatever. It gets through that it's owner financing. If you say dueño a dueño. Where this house is located, I don't think there's a big Spanish-speaking population, so I'm not putting any Spanish on here, just English. And I do find that even a lot of Spanish-speaking folks speak English, or they understand it, so you don't, like, the Spanish really makes sense in pockets where it's just really heavy Spanish-speaking population. Like San Antonio, maybe, because we had one there, and if you look at the demographics, it's like mostly Spanish speaking, I think. It might be the majority of first language in that population. So it just rationally makes sense to then put stuff in Spanish in that case. But let's see here. All right, we are making Bandit signs. Bandit signs for a home we have for sale in St. Louis area. And these bandit signs are going to get placed in the neighborhood where the house is located. And it's going to generate some massive passive income. How's that? A little bit more light? There we go. Yeah. Man, the sub 2 deals are becoming skinny. It's harder to find. This was a sub 2 deal though. Let's see here. Home for sale. This was a sub 2 deal. Is a sub 2 deal. But what's interesting about this one is that the subject to loan that we're taking subject to, Alan Senior, not quite. It's George. It's Sesker is spelled. Can I put it in a chat here? Can I chat? I don't know. It's spelled Ceshker. Ceshker. I don't know if I can put text up here, but kind of illiterate when it comes to live streaming, guys. Let's see here. Okay. Home for sale. Here's the address of the property. My whole point there was that we bought this property subject to a seller financing loan. A seller financing loan. So this property was owned by somebody who had bought it on seller financing and was paying a private individual monthly payments because the seller, not my seller, but their seller, had financed the property to them. This property was free and clear, and so the seller financed it to an investor, kind of a bad idea to seller finance to an investor, honestly. Unless they're bringing you a big down payment. Because that investor just doesn't have the same skin in the game as a homeowner, owner occupant would. And so we took this property subject to an owner financing loan. And now we are making the payments on the owner financing loan until we refinance, which we will want to refinance because there is a balloon on that owner financing loan. And I think we'll have put about probably 20 grand into this property when it's all said and done. So maybe more. No, closer to 30 because we paid the seller some cash. So we are maybe 30 to 35K in this house, and our down payment will probably be, because we're selling it seller financing, home for sale, but it's owner financing, no banks. Okay, so since we're going to be like wrapping this on a contract for deed, we'll probably be getting 10% down. So we'll list the house. We're not going to list it, but we're going to advertise the house for 225 maybe. We're going to try and get 10% down at a bare minimum. So whatever that is, 22 grand down-ish. And so if we are 35K in the deal, then that means we're still leaving money in this deal. But that's why if we refinance it, we bought it at a good enough deal with some equity so that we'll actually get the majority of all our money back after we do the refinance. So that is the new model, in my opinion. If people people got into real estate during the sub-2 craze and did some sub-2 deals and are thinking about real estate as like sub-2 is the way to go, well, now there's been a shift in the market. And so you have to adapt because those low interest rates are harder to find. Not as many good sub-2 opportunities. And so I'm going back to more of a cash model, buying cash and then refinancing and then doing the same exit strategy. And that actually is just the normal model, guys. Sub-2 was the weird blip on the radar, the weird abnormality for a little while there. I mean, I get it. It's still popular, Sub-2. It probably will be for a little while, but I feel like the popularity is waning. And so now we're going back to just what was the normal model, which was buy a good cash deal, put a little money into it, refinance. Yes, George, you got it. Nice. Yeah. Don't be intimidated by them being a law office. They are generous, especially just emailing Jessica. And yeah, man, you bet. And she should just email you documents, like the purchase documents, stuff like that. Even though they're attorneys can be intimidating to reach out to because you're not sure if they're going to even bill you for talking to them. Sesker Group is not that way. Oh, thanks, George. Appreciate it, man. Sesker Group will, they're just gonna give you stuff because they want you to close your deal with them, and that's where they make their money. So don't feel intimidated by them. I think Alan is a really upstanding guy, like a good human being. I hate that phrase, but I like Alan. I think he's a good guy. So he's not going to try and price gouge or anything. So reach out to Jessica, and it's probably Jessica at seskergroup.com or whatever their email thing is, and she'll likely get you the contracts. I can't guarantee it, but I think she probably will. So, all right. Home for sale. Who wants to buy a home on owner financing? On a live stream, when people are in and out, do you just repeat yourself for the new people, or do you keep going for like the people who stuck with you and keep saying new interesting things? We're selling this house with owner financing. And anybody watching the live stream, hey Henry, on a Friday at 10:45 Central Time, might be looking for a way to create income in their lives if they're not working. Or if they're at a job that they don't like and they want to escape that job. Maybe they're tuning in because they're thinking, real estate, maybe real estate's a way I can create some income, some passive income, some mailbox money where you can escape the rat race. Escaping the rat race is what real estate to me is all about. It's not about making big paychecks. It's not about being some big real estate mogul. I don't know about you, but I like being able to wake up, spend time with my kids, water my grass, because we were in a drought here in Missouri and all our grass is dying, and I'm trying to grow some new grass in my yard. I like being able to do that, or take off like Friday. I could be taking off today to go fishing, but I wanted to get these signs out. So yeah, you are going to have to do some work, but when you're self-employed and you have passive income coming in off of properties, then you have some flexibility in your life, which 90% of people don't have. So I know a lot of people they just want to make money. They just don't have any money, and are maybe not even like at a point where they want to scale passive income on the side or something. They're just like, I need money. This is probably not the business for you if you're looking for a quick dollar. If you're looking for a quick dollar, I don't think lease options, contract for deed sub 2 is the right thing for you, honestly. I think probably go get a job. Go get a job somewhere and become the best version of yourself, and then come back to real estate, because real estate is not easy and you need cash reserves. I think you should have a really good credit score if you're going to do this business. If you're like in the 500s, get your credit score together. I'm going to speak frankly with you. You shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be doing this if your credit score is not at least in the 700s. Yeah, it does. It definitely does. It definitely does. If you can't sell or buy a house, you've got you're not doing it right. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Creative financing is incredible. As much as I would dig on the Pace Morby phenomenon, he did bring an awareness in the industry to what's possible in real estate. So, I mean, that's cool. I think I'm sure it's helped countless people out. It's helped countless people out in terms of this kind of value, where somebody's gonna buy this house right here. They're gonna own it. They didn't have to go through a bank. They'd get denied by Fannie Freddie. They would get denied. But they are a worthy borrower. They are a worthy borrower. They should be able to get a loan. They are self-employed. They make a lot of money. Maybe some of it's cash, I don't know. They make a lot of money, but they're self-employed. They probably take every deduction they possibly can and show zero income. But they pay all their bills. They have cash laying around. They are a hustler. They are a self-made man or woman. They are the true American whatever, explorer or pilgrim, or just like they're living the American dream, right? I know there's not much we can agree on politically these days, but we can, I think, all agree that America should be a place where you can come and like just make it if you try hard. And I know we don't all think that's the case, but whatever. There are people out there who, by the way, I think that's just loser think. I think that's loser think. But I see people out there, I know people, buyers of houses and notes in my portfolio, which I manage. They have overcome great obstacles in their life, and when they saw a sign like this in the neighborhood where they wanted to own a house where their kids went to school maybe, or where their job was located down the road, they thought, what? This is possible? Is this real? Is that real? They called the number, we had a conversation, I screened them, we underwrote them. They turned out to be amazing, and they are amazing. Most of them are amazing. The ones who pay on time or pay early are amazing. You do run into issues. Sometimes life happens to people, or you do the best you can to underwrite somebody, but you know, can't always get guaranteed. You can't always get a guarantee on whether they're going to make their payments on time. So that being said, we have a great track record because we've never had to forcibly take a house back from anyone that we sold seller financing to, contract for deed, wrap mortgage, or lease purchase, lease option. We've never forcibly taken a property back yet. It will happen. It will inevitably happen because human beings are largely irrational, and I believe that at least, and sometimes you cannot speak reason into somebody who's not making their house payment. The proof of that is just if you've ever tried to buy a house from people in foreclosure, in pre-foreclosure, you're going to quickly learn something about human nature. The degree of sand that a lot of those folks have their heads buried in is very deep and non-plussing, perplexing, puzzling. So you will have to foreclose sometimes. You will have to eject on a contract for deed sometimes, evict on a lease option sometimes. Again, I have a good track record. I think that speaks to some good discretion, maybe good systems, wisdom that I've gleaned from others and have just incorporated into my business. It's not my wisdom. It's not, I didn't create the wisdom. The wisdom was there, and it was spoken to me, and I listened to it. I don't always listen to it. Oftentimes I am stubborn, I'm in a rush, I'm in a hurry, and I just want to place somebody in the house. I feel panicked, and so maybe I'm inclined to accept somebody that I should really wait until I get a better fit, a more qualified candidate for the house. Sometimes that can happen. But if you do the credit checks, you do the background checks, you check their previous housing history, they have to have some kind of housing history, whether it be a mortgage that they have on a different house, a rent that they're paying. But I'm generally wary that if you don't have any housing payments at all, it's probably not going to work. It's probably not going to work. In fact, the RMLO that we use What am I doing, by the way? I'm writing these signs, by the way. Home for sale. That's a house there that our company owns, and owner financing. Yeah, no banks. The messaging is crucial. No banks. Because there's a lot of different things you could put on a sign like this. I have put owner to owner, owner to owner. That doesn't convey the financing component though. Some people might just think it's a FSBO. No banks needed, however. That does convey owner financing. And I just like to put owner financing, no banks needed, and then I think it's relatively clear it's not for rents, although people will call the sign and say, is your house still available to rent? There's no way to, hey Lucas, there's no way to, I don't know, basically there's no way to prevent people from asking stupid questions, all right? So clearly the house is not for rent. I think a lot of people, maybe, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, they've never heard of owner financing, they think that everything's for rent because they've never thought that they could own a house. Whatever. You will have to, the beauty about these signs versus just putting it out on Zillow is that they have to drive to the house. There's no phone number on here intentionally. There's intentionally no phone number on these friggin' signs because I don't want tire kickers wasting my time or my virtual assistant's time, and they are going to get pre-qualified by having to drive to the house. They have to type that into GPS. They have to take a photo of this sign. And then if they're calling me off of that, I already know there's some level of motivation there for them to own a house with seller financing. Otherwise, why would you call it a sign? So these are the best leads, in my opinion, if you're doing lease options, if you're doing owner financing as your exit strategy to actually make passive income, because rentals don't make passive income. It's quasi-passive at best, long-term rentals. Short-term rentals aren't passive, mid-term rentals aren't passive, apartment complexes aren't passive. The only true passive investing in real estate is a lender. You're a lender. And even there, you might have to foreclose and take a property back and then list it on the market to be made whole. So even lending has a potential of not being passive. You do have to get your paperwork in order as a lender, but that being a lender is the closest thing to actually passive in real estate. JV partner, same thing as lending. I mean, that's the same category, but you can still get pulled into drama no matter what you do. But long-term rentals, for me, no. I need income on a monthly basis. Long-term rentals don't provide that. Sorry. So you can still buy single-family houses though, and make money off of them every single month, selling them with owner financing. And why is that? Why does that work? Well, the answer is because you are a lender, not a landlord. And the most passive form of income, the most passive way to make income in real estate is to be a lender. Think about it, a hard money lender, what do they have to do? They just have to transfer money to a title company, sign paperwork, and then wait 6 months or so to get paid all of that back, and then their interest, their income, okay? depending on the model, depending on the lender, but I don't think many people got into the sub 2 space thinking that they would become lenders. I think most people getting into the sub 2 space they're just drawn to the sexiness of the model of taking over someone's debt. Like, it looks cool, it seems cool. But the reality is that being cool doesn't make you money. Looking cool, doing a model, saying that you're a sub 2 expert. Being a sub 2 expert doesn't make you any money. Buying properties doesn't make you money. What makes you money is selling properties or renting them out in the most lender type way possible, which is lease options. Okay, so you can make money that way. So, but it's on the disposition where we actually create the passive income. Where you have to sell the property, you have to sell the home to make money off of the home. When you buy it sub 2, you just locked up amazing debt on the house, but if you don't turn it into something that generates income, then what's the point of sub 2? You just have a loan that you have to pay every single month. So again, we can go down the list of exit strategies, group housing, rehabilitation housing, midterm rentals were kind of cool for a minute. Short-term rentals were cool for a minute. You know, all of those things kind of come and go. I think there's really cool niches out there that people find, and I am not opposed to people really being enthralled with a niche. Like, if they are really into group housing because they maybe they were a veteran and they see the need for housing for veterans, and they like they like building multiple rooms, they like rehabbing to like make it maximal occupancy, and then they like managing the tenants and doing the service for veterans to provide housing and the housing vouchers and all that stuff. Like, that's cool. I mean, go ahead and do that. Go ahead and buy creatively, and then do your exit strategy to create some income there, or at least cover your holding costs until the property appreciates in value. Because once again, I really truly believe with rentals, it's very hard to cash flow at all. With rentals, even with a short-term rental, you can cash flow. You might get lucky. You might have a niche market that you can find, but we all have seen what's happened in the short-term rental space, how stinking competitive it's gotten, and how only the best hosts now really get most of the bookings and the best rates and make the most money. So, you can definitely do all those things. It's cool. I'm good with it. But I will tell you this right now. That very few people do what I'm doing right now. I live in one of the best real estate markets for investors, St. Louis. Do you know how many friggin' gurus there are here and thought leaders in real estate? I'm starting to tell you about all thought leaders in real estate who are based in St. Louis, and you're going to be like, what? Those people are there? And I'm going to say, yeah. Plus, here's like two dozen more. And you're going to say, oh dang. How, it's so competitive there, Hans. How could you ever find a deal there? St. Louis is a very competitive investors market. Lots of innovation happens here. So from the software and technology side to the marketing side, and my whole point of saying that is, I'm out here on the streets, on the ground, seeing what's happening in this extremely good investors market called St. Louis, Missouri, okay? And if a lot of people were doing this strategy, again, I didn't invent this strategy. This is not my brainchild. I am not a genius. I'm not a genius at all. But I was kind of forced into this business model in a way by Providence. It had nothing to do with me. I'm just happy I discovered it. I'm happy that I discovered it. Nobody does it. Nobody does it here. You would think that of all the geniuses in St. Louis, there is actually one guy who does the most of it here. I know him, but even they are not doing a ton of volume. They're not doing a ton of volume, and what they're doing is a little bit different than what I'm doing. So we can have our own niches. I'm cool with that. Here's a sign that's gonna bring me a $22,000 down payment, okay, at least, all right? Blah, blah, blah. And not only is this sign gonna bring me a $22,000 or more down payment, what time is it? I gotta go out there and place these signs before rush hour traffic. I'm gonna make $500, $600 cash flow a month in totally passive, because I'm the lender, I'm not the landlord, off of this house, okay? So I'm gonna make all my money back from what I put into this house. And I'm gonna find the buyer who's gonna be the engine of that income. They're gonna happily pay that, because what they get is to own a house. When everybody else said no, we said yes, okay? And that is gonna be the desire of their heart, is to just own a house for their family. And I should get paid for that, obviously. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't get paid for providing the opportunity, just like Amazon should get paid for creating the most amazing marketplace of stuff that you can get to your doorstep in like less than a day, okay? I'm happy for Jeff Bezos or whoever to make money, but I don't care about the money. I care about the freedom that this brings, the financial freedom. And I have a chip on my shoulder a little bit because no matter how much I talk about this, nobody's gonna go out there and do it. Nobody wants to go out there and do this strategy. Very few people. I think the signs are backwards. The sign, it says home for sale. I don't know if you can actually read what this says. There's the address of the property. It says owner financing and then no banks needed. And now what I gotta do next is write signs that are gonna go in the front yard with my number on it. And it's gonna say, you know, beautiful house, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, here's the phone number, call for information or something like that. That's how you do it. So that was me making the signs. I hope that was of value, and I'm gonna finish these signs, gonna peace out. If anybody had any other questions or comments, you can write them. We'll get another sign here. There we go. There's a pre-made sign. You could call this number, I don't care. Yeah, that's gonna, something like that's gonna go in the front yard. It's a little too busy, I don't love it, but it's got the bed bath count so people know. Again, pre-qualifying people. I don't want to talk to anybody not interested in this kind of deal unless they would like a different house that I have for sale. Then if they call them, I'll tell them about the other house, but this is gonna go in the front yard. I should make sure that that's the right phone number. All right, let's see here. Is that the right phone number? Because if I put down the wrong phone number, then I'm gonna lose all of these leads. Yeah, that's the right phone number. Okay. So let me write the signs that are gonna go in the front yard. Then I gotta go place these things. I like to avoid Friday afternoon rush hour traffic, so I'm always thinking about that. I'm getting a late start. Phone number. It's my phone number. I'm gonna probably just put home for sale at the top. You'll be amazed that some of the neighbors are gonna be like, hey, I'm looking for a house for my son or my daughter or my brother, and they'll just buy the house. We sold one recently where the next door neighbor bought the house. We know they were motivated because they own the house behind the house that we're selling. And so I really liked it. And that buyer had a 750 credit score. Okay, computer, come on. Let's see. Home for sale, financing. Well, I guess I'm going to put 3-bed, 2-bath owner financing. Yeah, owner financing. I really only need one side for this. Home for sale, my phone number, give me a ring if you'd like. 3-bed, 2-bath, owner financing. And I kind of like having one where it's like beautiful house, something just that says it's beautiful. I don't know. Let's see here. Beautiful inside. That's a 4-bedroom sign. Let's see here. Here's an interesting one. It has rent to own, so I like the messaging of rent to own. Blah, blah. Let's see, rent to own, because even though it says seller financing, just notice that there's a difference in messaging. No credit, no problem, no banks needed. And even though I am intent on not doing rent to own on this one, people, when they see rent to own, they don't know what owner financing even means, but they know what rent to own means. So by putting rent to own, when I talk to them and tell them it's actually owner financing, I've gotten that lead, I've captured that lead, and that person might make a good buyer on a different property I have. Or I might decide to do a rent to own to them because they've got 7% to put down, and then we can do a rent to own until they got the other 3% down so that I got a 10% down payment. All right, that's it. I'm gonna go place these signs. Laters.